Here's the 30-second lesson on what legends know. Never practice nunchucks in a crowded room. Never eat chole before a road trip. Always take your shirt off before you iron it. Don't take a call near a swimming pool. And don't forget, saving is not investing. Legends don't just save, they invest in mutual funds. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
The fact is that Jammu and Kashmir is seeing the most remarkable infrastructure upgrade for any state in India, particularly any Himalayan state in India, because Himalayan states, hill states, in any case have tough geography for infrastructure building. Kashmir is among the toughest. Kashmir has two distinct territories, Jammu and the valley. The two are separated by the mighty Pir Panjal ranges. So to go from one to the other, you have to either climb the ranges or go underneath them. That is, you have to do tunneling. Now, a lot is happening in Jammu and Kashmir by way of infra development, but the most important thing and the most striking thing is the building of new tunnels or the digging of new tunnels, if that's the expression you prefer to use. Now, there was a story that my colleague Moushumi Das Gupta did on this. In December, there was also a video. I will share the links with you. So lots of details are there. Also, there's a chart here, which you see on your screen that tells you exactly what's happening. One element of this infrastructure building, as you would expect, is heavily militarily oriented. But these days, it's difficult to say what is military, what is civil. So maybe as in the civil nuclear deal, you said we'll separate our civil nuclear establishments from military nuclear establishments. It was possible there. But when it comes to infrastructure building, there is no such distinction. What is used by the military is used by civilians. What's used by civilians is used by the military. But the chances, however, are that some of these projects, for example, the Zoji tunnel, which is 14.15 kilometers, being constructed at the cost of 6,809 crores. That will greatly reduce the travel time between Srinagar and Kargil and then on to Ladakh, right up to the other end of Ladakh, because the DBO road going right up to Daulat Beg Oldi has already come up. So that'll be a big advantage to Indian military. But more important than cutting the distance or cutting the travel time, this will be an all-weather road, because right now Zoji Pass has to be crossed. Zoji Pass remains snowbound for almost 6 months in a year. In fact, every year we are all used to seeing these stories in the month of May that with the clearing of snows by Border Roads Organization, the pass may open. The remaining 6 months, pass is closed. Similarly, just before driving from Srinagar, just before you reach Zoji, if you've been to Sonamarg, you would know that before Sonamarg, you do a long drive. Sometimes it takes hours because it's also crowded with traffic and it's also quite a complex road. It's called a Z-Morh. So it's not just a turn that is like a Z. It's a very large Z. Sometimes it can take you more than 3 hours doing it. Now that is between Srinagar and Sonamarg. So underneath that also, a tunnel is being built. That tunnel will be completed this year by December 2023. It's actually called the Z-Morh tunnel and you can see it on the map where it is. It's a shot of the Zoji tunnel, and what this will do is it will go from a place called Gagangir, which is on the Srinagar side of the tunnel, through Gandarbal district in Kashmir Valley, say from kilometer or milestone or kilometer stone 69.5 to 81.3, the total length being about 6.5 kilometers. And a 3.5 hour drive, a tough 3.5 hour drive will now be reduced to just 15 minutes. So that will be revolutionary, and that is expected to be completed, as I said, later this year by December. Maybe it will go to January. I don't know. Prime Minister Modi likes events, so maybe around 26 January, around Republic Day. The fact is that if you look at the picture in Kashmir, 6 major tunnels are under construction now. Of these 6, 3 will be completed this year, including the Z-Morh tunnel, which is the most significant. In addition to that, tunnels that will be completed are the Khilani tunnel in Jammu, that is a 1.57 kilometer tunnel that will be completed this year. Please see where it's located. This is a tunnel in the Jammu section of the Jammu-Srinagar highway, not far from Udhampur. So this will be completed this year. Similarly, a shorter tunnel, 495-meter tunnel at kilometer 83 on the Jammu-Srinagar road. That will be completed this year. And third, of course, we told you about the Z-Morh tunnel. The tunnels that are under construction, Zoji 2026, I told you. Then there is a tunnel called Shuddh Mahadev to Dranga. Shuddh Mahadev to Dranga is also not a small tunnel. That is an 8-kilometer tunnel, again on the Jammu-Srinagar highway. 8-kilometer tunnel, it will cost about 3,800 crores. Bids for this have been called, as they have been called for yet another long tunnel, 10.3-kilometer tunnel on the same road, same highway called Singhpura-Vailu tunnel. That is a 10.3-kilometer tunnel. When all of this is done, then the drive from Jammu to Srinagar will become much, much shorter. And in this case, not just Srinagar, but Anantnag, Baramulla, all of those places. A few more things have happened meanwhile. We know that the Prime Minister inaugurated the new Banihal tunnel. For a long time, there's been a tunnel at Banihal that goes under the Pir Panjal ranges, but this is a newer tunnel, more modern, more reliable. And also, because a tunnel has been constructed on the other side in what is called as the Chenani-Nashri tunnel, one of the most hazardous stretches of the Jammu-Srinagar highway have been covered. That was the most landslide-prone stretch. In fact, landslides came down. Sometimes they took trucks and buses and other vehicles along with them, led to loss of life and property. But more importantly, it had traffic stranded for days together sometimes. In fact, I too, as a teenager, when I first went to Srinagar, experienced that. We were not stuck for days, but we were stuck definitely for several hours, and it was quite dangerous because you could see these rocks falling from the top. In addition, a very important railway tunnel has been constructed, generally in the same area, that is the Banihal-Kazigund section. Again, that takes the train track under the Pir Panjal ranges. What that does is that as the train track comes from the other side, that is Jammu, Katra, Udhampur, and Udhampur towards Banihal, it joins in at Banihal. The tunneling work is already done. That tunnel is functional, and then that train can go straight through the tunnel into the Kashmir Valley. And that is the reason the government of India is now expecting that maybe early next year, obviously they'd like to do it before the national elections or before even the code of conduct kicks in, so they can at least carry out their inaugurations, etc. They are hoping that this train from Udhampur to Srinagar or Jammu to Srinagar, maybe Delhi to Srinagar will start running before that. In fact, the railway minister has already said that he's planning to start running a Vande Bharat train on that route as well. That will be a turning point for the valley when it comes to infrastructure. Now, you have to give it to the Modi government, because one thing they've really focused on and they have delivered on it is heavy physical infrastructure building. I've just come back from Bombay. I've spent 3 days in Bombay. Just look around in Bombay. It looks like they are constructing things in Bombay as if nothing has ever been constructed before. There is a Trans-Harbour link coming up. There are multiple metros coming up. There is the coastal road. There is work going on everywhere. Now, when it comes to infrastructure building, engineering, everything is complicated. Everything is complicated. Even if you build a 20-story house, there will be complications in it. But to build tunnels in the mountains, in the Himalayan mountains, which tend to be much more brittle than, say, the Alps, that's a much more challenging thing. At this point, in the larger Jammu and Kashmir region, or what used to be Jammu and Kashmir, 31 tunnels are either under construction or under advanced planning stages. Of these, 20 are in Jammu and Kashmir, 11 are in Ladakh. In Ladakh, these will mostly be used by defense, by the Indian Army. Once again, if you're looking at the railway line going from Jammu into the valley, or rather connecting the rest of India, the plains, New Delhi, maybe a train running straight from Bombay into Srinagar. That project right now is the most exciting thing happening in terms of Indian infrastructure building. So you've seen pictures, videos on the Chenab Rail Bridge, which is now seen as the highest in the world. I will also share with you a link of a story, video, as well as text that our colleague Suprati Vats did on it. But alongside that, just short of that, on the same route, there is another very significant bridge being built. That is not as long as the Chenab Rail Bridge and not as high, but it is 441 meters long, so that's almost half a kilometer long. It's costing 400 crores. But India's first fully cable-stayed railway bridge. Of the 96 cables to be erected, 84 were already done when Sukruti reported this. I presume there is work on a few others, and chances are this will also be complete in good time. So if all of this happens, if these tunnels keep their deadlines and work carries on the rest, because most of the tunnels that have shorter deadlines are this side of Srinagar. If the tunnels are scheduled to come up by the end of 2023, they meet their deadlines and the railway starts, then you could say that at least in terms of infrastructure upgrades, Jammu and Kashmir has gone through a revolution.